Very good morning to you. Welcome to the weekend edition of the program. It's the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga.
We're up bright and early as always, whether it's Friday or Monday, so thank God it's another day of the week.
It's the 30th day of the week.
Good morning.
Of the month, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I'm wondering what people, okay, tomorrow is the last day of the month. So I'm wondering what will be some people's highlight of this month. A lot happened. Literally, some weeks were really intense, other just here and there and all of that. One other interesting thing I'm seeing was some numbers that the amount that's been paid for ransom. I think I saw that from a report on SBM Intelligence at about, we understand over £1 billion was paid for ransom between June 2023 and June 2024, and that is not quite a good one as far as the security situation of our country is concerned. It means that for individuals or groups to be able to, spend that kind of money just to secure their lives and all of that, it says a lot about the state of our securities. Let's be clear, there's been some improvement in some areas, but generally there's still that prevalence of insecurity across the country. And it means this is an industry. There's no other way to describe or characterize this. It's an industry. You can't run away from the fact that if somebody accrues revenue, these are the reported ones of up to $1 billion in a year. In any business, that's a lot of money, Coyote.
It is, and it reminds me of what we saw playing out in one of the states where people came together and they said, you know what? It's been every day for the bandits, but not
today's for us.
Exactly, and it's recorded that residents of that community actually repelled a bandit attack. So the bandits were planning to take over a bridge, but apparently we understand that people had even set an ambush for the bandits, and eventually they were able to repel the attack. And the police even confirmed what happened there. So clearly, a lot of people are tired of this. This has been on for too long. I mean, you can go as far back as over 10 years ago where we've had this kidnappings. It was first from terrorism, then it morphed into banditry and terrorism operating on two cylinders of sorts, or two engines. And this has been on for too long. So when you put figures to it, it also paints that picture of how big it has grown. I mean, we've seen the number of people kidnapped, sadly, the number of people who have died as a result of that. So this is yet another dimension to it, the financial angle. And amidst all of this, the best we can do, Jeffrey, as a people, as a nation, is clearly come together to fight, just as we saw in that community. And, I listened to a space, on X. From time to time, there are different spaces. And I was in a space yesterday where, different ethnicities were present, and they were talking about varying issues. And, for a while, I just sat back to listen, just for a couple of minutes. And it just hit me that, hey, if Nigerians come together as they ought to, putting aside all of the sentiment, the Nigerians are unstoppable. Because when they're disagreeing, you can see the energy in the room. So imagine we take all of that energy and pour it into fighting corruption, fighting insecurity, as we saw in that community. Then I can tell you that we are unstoppable. But of course, this is not taking the bulk off the table of those who are responsible in government. We need to sit up and fix things.
Absolutely. We need to sit up as a people. We need to fix things and do the best we can to ensure that, and government must know that until we see improvement, we continue to talk about the situation in our country. Is our collective commonwealth, if you will. And that's why we raise this concern. So, it's a weekend edition of the program. What's been your highlight for the week, by the way?
Highlight for the week would be... I've not gotten the highlight yet. I expect my highlight to be what happens with Osimhen.
Yeah.
Because that's meant to be the toast of the transfer window, the toast of the month, toast of the week, toast of the year. Okay, well, we have other footballers in Nigeria. But that's what a lot of people are looking to see how it plays out.
We're really hopeful.
Will it be Chelsea? Will it be Al Hilal? Or what will they be?
So on one hand is the prominence of the English Premier League in Europe and around the world as the perhaps most celebrated. The league that has the highest attention.
Wait till you see the numbers from MPFL, Jeff.
So, as against going to Saudi Arabia to get the box, because the money that they are calling for Osimhen, It's very tempting, but those are the kind of money you get when you're about to call it quit. Like Cristiano Ronaldo, he's so phenomenally influential that we now have to pay attention to the Saudi league because of one individual. That's
the goal for the league, actually.
So
to get those
at the end of the day,
get attention.
But there is. I was thinking about something the other day, and I was asking myself. I said the best player in the world. Most of the best players in the world come from the leagues in Europe.
Or play in the leagues in Europe.
Play in the league, the European leagues. Any of the countries within Europe.
Right.
That's what I meant to say.
Right.
But I know good football is being played in South America. Good football is being played in part of Africa. At least those two I can say. Some good football. So when we use the word world best player, I think we need to redefine a few things. Because the way it appears that if you don't play in Europe, you can't get world best. But they are good. So it feels like the most commercially celebrated. We need to add a line to that to really qualify what we mean by world best. Because if it's good football,
then you find
good football is
South America.
Everywhere.
It's just like crude oil, Jeffrey. So the deposits are here, but the big refineries, the big box is not made.
The biggest, I think, is in India.
Exactly. So it's just like chocolate. Cocoa is here, but the big chocolate companies are not here. The ones making billions, being on the Forbes list as a result of chocolate, they're not here. So until we start thinking the business of it and ensuring that whatever we have here, we're able to invest and develop it, then we'll still be having the world best, as you said. From there.
The truth is, at the end of the day, the global north, they found a way to always keep things around them. Not conspiracy theory. I can go on and on and on how the global north has said, look, if we don't say it's the best, then it's not the best. But hey, let's tell you what we're doing today on the program. And we get started with the issue of flooding. Nature's wrath as part of the country following heavy downpour and sometimes poor infrastructure to mitigate its impact. The recent a round of flood in Nigeria has left death and destruction on its trail. How can government and citizens better prepare and manage this incident? Well, we'll find out on the program.
But that's not all. With social media comes both democratization of opportunities and social pressures with attendant vices. So the big question is, where do we draw the line to safeguard our mental health, especially the protection of adolescents? So we find out this morning, yes, social media is good, but then what do we do when the bad stares us in the face?
It's a complicated conversation. But today is Friday. Remember, just in case you forgot, our fitness and wellness coach, trainer, will be here to join us on the weekend edition of the show to guide us yet again and how to stay not just ahead, but fit and well for better productivity, both at home and at work. So get ready, get your, is it gym gears now they call it? Get them ready. For those of you who buy just for, let it be that I have it, that's not the idea. The idea is to work out. So let's help you out with the best way we can this morning. Coach Musa will be here to join us and help us out right here on the program.
And I mean, what is this show without social media? So head over to X, WhatsApp. Just use the hashtag CTV Morning Brief. We're tracking it. And if you're watching us live on YouTube, you can also drop your comments. We're looking through them. Whatever it is you have that you think is worthy of note, you can head over to WhatsApp as well and send to us questions, comments, videos, whatever is happening around you. Let us know so we can push it out there to the world. So be a part of the show with that golden number, which you'll see from time to time, and the hashtag on the screen.
Absolutely. So, hey, we will get to all of the conversations and the last leg of the program that has to do with us just moving our bodies around to stay fit and healthy. But first, we'll bring you your top stories after this break. Join us again. Top on the brief this morning is the assessment and verdict by the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, describing the labor movement as the most patriotic organization in the country, promising that the workers won't compromise its patriotism no matter the challenges it faces. Mr. Joe Ajero hinted on their resolve while addressing a crowd of labor members who gathered at the NLC headquarters to welcome him after honoring an invitation by the police, maintaining that the union is worth dying for. Recorded last week, the NLC president was invited by the police following an ongoing investigation into allegations of terrorism financing, treasonable felony, subversion, and cybercrime, in which Ajero's name was mentioned. But his lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, who accompanied him to that police station, told the force to reschedule to Thursday due to conflict of schedule with prior engagement.
We have gone there and we are back. I just want to confirm to you that as a citizen, I've gone there and we are back here. But what is important is the circumstances, that took me to that place. Or whatever is the case, we're out to continue the struggle.
Let's now talk politics. The governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, has asked the police, the people of the state, I should say, to give their votes to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Aswe Godalo, in order to take the state to another level of revenue generation and infrastructure development. Mr. Obaseki made the appeal during the party's official campaign flag-off at Obiaja Town Ship Stadium in Esan Southeast local government area of Edo State, where he says the candidate will do even better than him. On their part, Mr. Godalo and his running mate also unveiled their plan for the state. We're not done with Edo State. The opposition, All Progressives Congress, has asked the Nigerian police to be proactive by ensuring individuals or groups bearing arms in the name of protecting the state must cease to do so before the September the 21st polls in the state. The former governor of Edo State and senator representing Edo North, Comrade Adams Oshomole, made their call when the APC campaign took its train to Ikpobaha communities as part of their campaigns yesterday. And same with the elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has fixed September the 12th for the signing of a peace accord by candidates and political parties participating in the election. The chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, announced it at a meeting with chairmen and secretaries of the political parties in Abuja. The electoral body also informed the political parties that it will conduct a mock voter accreditation and voting exercise in 6 local government areas on September the 10th to determine the efficacy of the bimodal voter accreditation system known as BVAS.
The signing of the peace accord for the Edo State governorship election will take place on Thursday, 12 September 2024 in Benin City. A number of other activities have been scheduled. On Tuesday, 10th September 2024, the Commission will conduct a mock accreditation of voters to determine the deployment of the BVAS for the election, as well as the upload of results to the INEC result viewing portal, the INEC.
Moving on now, the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare says it is disappointed over the decision by the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NAD, to embark on a 7-day warning strike, disregarding all negotiations and plea attempts to resolve its concerns and ensure continued industrial harmony. In a statement signed by the Assistant Director, Information and Public Relations, Mr. Ado Bako, the federal government has revoked the no work, no pay for the number of days the strike was observed in line with extant labor laws. Mr. Bako noted that the measure is not intended to undermine the legitimate concerns of medical professionals, but to ensure that essential healthcare services are not unduly disrupted to the detriment of the public. He said over the past months, the ministry, in collaboration with relevant security agencies, including the Office of the National Security Advisor, have been working tirelessly to ensure the immediate and safe rescue of Dr. Ganiat Pupula, and high-level discussions and coordinated efforts are currently underway. And let's bring you some cherry news, as the federal government has approved a 50% electricity subsidy for public hospitals across the country. That announcement came from the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Tunji Alausa, during a visit to the National Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Banawa, Kaduna State. The minister was in Kaduna to commission the electronic health records and alternative power supply at the Lawa Jafara Isa Emergency Complex, and the solarization project at the dialysis unit says the gesture aims to reduce the running costs for public hospitals and reduce the impact of out-of-pocket spendings on patients. And away from labor matters, President Bola Tinubu has left Abuja for Beijing, China on an official visit to the Asian country. The president is expected to have a brief layover in the United Arab Emirates. In a statement by a spokesperson, Ajirin Galali, while in China, the president will meet with President Xi Jinping and hold meetings with Chinese business leaders on the sidelines of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. Is accompanied on this particular trip by senior government officials to that Asian country. And to other stories, senior advocate of Nigeria, Afam Osigwe, has promised to run an all-inclusive bar that keeps the association not only united, but moves the bar forward as he takes his oath of office and inaugurated as the 32nd president of the Nigerian Bar Association. Osigwe will lead the association alongside other newly sworn-in national officers of the bar for the next 2 years, taking over from immediate past president of the association, senior advocate of Nigeria, Yakubu Mikio. In his inaugural speech delivered at the swearing-in ceremony in Lagos, Mr. Osigwe commended his opponent, Tobina Erojikwe, and senior advocate of Nigeria, Chukwuka Ikwazon, for their decorum during the electioneering process and extended a hand of fellowship to them to join him in moving the association forward.
We're elected into office at a time when our nation, Nigeria, stands at a very critical moment in its history and evolution. We face a multitude of challenges ranging from issues of administration of justice and the rule of law to socio-economic problems. As legal practitioners, we occupy a unique position in society, one that enables us to effect positive changes in society and uphold the principles of justice, equity, and fairness. We must ensure that the law serves all Nigerians, irrespective of their background, status, or affiliation. Under my watch, NBA shall hold governments at all levels accountable, including and especially the federal and state governments. We work towards ensuring that government policies and programs meet the yearnings and aspirations of our people as they relate to the provisions of good governance, transparency in financial expenditure, reducing drastically the cost of governance, and ensuring that the welfare of our people is given topmost priority. We will strive to ensure that government responds appropriately to the challenges of security of lives and property, respect for the fundamental rights and freedoms, the provision of gainful employment, and all the basic amenities of life, especially food, shelter, clothing, qualitative and affordable education, healthcare, and other infrastructure.
Let's talk business. The federal government has established a committee to examine concerns raised by industrial stakeholders over the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission's NUPRC's recent regulation on domestic crude oil supply obligations, particularly Section 109 of the PIA. The committee, headed by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Nicholas Ella, follows a meeting between the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Heineke Lekbobri, and representatives of the Oil Producers Trade Section Ops and Independent Petroleum Producers Group, that's IPPG. Mr. Lekbobri says the goal is to ensure seamless crude oil supply to domestic refining, boosting Nigeria's energy security and economic growth. And outside our shows, our attention is on Japan, where the government has issued its highest level of alert to more than 5 million people after the country was hit by one of its strongest typhoons in decades. At least 4 people have so far been killed and more than 90 injured after Typhoon Shanshan made landfall in the country's southwest. Hundreds of thousands of people have been left without power. The level 5 order issued in parts of the southern island of Kyushu told residents to take immediate life-saving action by moving to safer location or seeking shelter in higher places near homes. In sports, Nigeria's female basketball team, the Tigers, have been placed 8th in the world in the latest FIBA rankings. The list released on Thursday by the World Basketball Governing Body, the 6-time Afro-Basket champions jumped 4 spots to become one of the top 10 teams globally. With its 8th position in the latest ranking, the Tigers become the first African team, either men or women, to break into the top 10 of FIBA World rankings. So big congratulations to the Tigers, and we're super excited. They broke records. This one, and of course, at the Olympics. But those are the stories we've been tracking for you in the last 24 hours. Kayode joins me now to bring us up to speed with what you've been saying on our social media X.
Aren't you proud of my girls?
Yeah, super proud. Breaking the record at the Olympics, getting the quarterfinals for the first time by an African team. Wakama becoming the best coach in that Olympics, and now this. So come on, we need to give the ladies some credit.
And we need to also celebrate young Nigerians, because they're doing great things, obviously. Wakama, a lot of people were shocked when they saw her age. They thought she was maybe in her 40s, but clearly she's way younger than that. So young people, this is just a reminder that the future and today belongs to you. So let's do the best we can. But let's start with what you're saying right now. And I think a lot of people have talked about it's not a visit, really. The NLC president eventually went to the police HQ for questioning. An invitation had been sent, and Jeffrey, you walked us through that story earlier on. So people have been talking about what happened yesterday, particularly labor unions across the country also mobilizing and saying they would sort of occupy police stations across the country until
they actually did.
Yes, until Joe Ajero is out of interrogation, and they did in some parts. But take a look at what people have to say about that. We start off with Okunla Babatunde, who says that all I know is that if he has nothing to hide, he has no reason to fear, and that's referring to the NLC president, Joe Ajero, who honored the police invitation yesterday.
At the end of the day, when you look at this, it shouldn't be a big deal that you're invited by the police and then you answer questions. But perhaps the climate and the things we've seen happening in the country, if the police invites you, it's an invitation, you're supposed to honor that invitation. But maybe they know things we don't know, and they needed to, mobilize their people just in case. So the police got the warning signal, or the government got that warning signal that not only you are influential, we too can pull some strings. But we're happy he went, he came out, and let's see how it plays out eventually. I know they asked him about whether he was going to sue them or counter-sue them for the allegation. He said, depends on what comes out of this interrogation and investigation. Ayuba Haruna says, if your hands are clean, you don't need all these people. Just go and answer the police. If anything goes wrong, your people will mobilize.
And Olakunle says, well, Ajero should tread softly. You fight today and you hide tomorrow. But this kind of activism won't help, the Caesar believes, saying the same people who are hailing you, come on. So dump you, that's quite authoritative, except you have those people on speed dial and they've told you and they will dump him then. But I think we get the point being made.
All right, this has to do with an airport cleaner that returned $10,000 at the Kano airport. $10,000, about 1 point, no, that's more than that.
That's about $10,000.
$10,000. Let me not do the conversion. I almost made a mistake.
I see where you're going.
You want
to say 16 million or what?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to say that, yes. Oh boy, I can't imagine. There was a day I was looking through one of my accounts and I saw the dollar. I think at that particular place, I saw the conversion. I was like, what? Just maybe $1 is... That time it was like almost 2,000 naira. Like, whoa, this is not nice. Okay, where are we now?
Yeah, that should cleaner. And I think it was quite commendable for him to return that.
Absolutely. Money. And Dina Asuko says, that's a man of integrity, discipline, and honesty. Remain in your honor. Absolutely.
So Samuel is next with this one. Okay, that's the previous one from Andino. But Samuel has this to say, this was an opportunity to do the right thing, and he did just that. Never take what doesn't belong to you. You can say that again, and I think we should just pass this across board from those in government, those in positions of authority. It's as simple as never take what doesn't belong to you. Just simple and straightforward, Jeffrey. Simple and straightforward.
I like the simplicity.
Very simple.
Fasai Kerfu says, stories like this give us hope that maybe, just maybe, people like this guy will occupy the position of power. May God bless this man.
This man, by the way, is Awal Dankodi. That's his name. I mean, let's get used to saying that when people do great things, let's name them. And when they do the wrong things, let's name and shame, as they always say. This next user says, that's Onimisi. In this economy, that's how this next comment starts, Jeffrey. In this economy.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to him and the good people of Kano. This guy has a good heart.
So these are the kind of people who give honors, Fanavia says, this is commendable. I will do same because I like to put myself in other people's shoes. What if it was my money that got lost? or got missing, I guess, I will be super glad if someone returned it. Well done, all, and God bless you.
Indeed. Let's now switch gears now and talk about another issue. It's been on for a while. The House of Reps trying to regulate house rents across the board. We've seen it happen in some states, even the FCT now, but it looks like they're going to be moving ahead with this one as the House of Reps is seeking to regulate outrageous house rents in Nigeria. Now the question will be, what will be the definition of a house rent? Who's deciding the value? And I mean, just pray that you have a good landlord at the end of the day. Onwana has this to say, regulating house rents is a step in the right direction, but the real issue is enforcement. Without strict penalties for landlords who violate these regulations, it's just another empty promise.
Hamzon Zani, okay, is it Hamson? I'm not sure. It's a great idea. Rent keeps increasing every year, and those landlords don't care if tenants have the money or not at all. Is to pay their rent. Agreement and commissions keep increasing. Agreement and commission only is between 300K and 600K. For why?
And add to that, people who say you have to pay for 2 years before you get the property. The next user, Okocha, has an interesting angle to this one. Let's see if we can probe it. This user believes it will cause housing scarcity and increase in cost. Okay. You might want to explain how this will cause housing scarcity if they regulate the rent. Goes on to say government was not the one providing most of the houses before now. True. If they neither consider the cost of a building nor the current economy, then landlords will simply stop building new apartments, leading to scarcity. So I think that's the explainer there. But what happens to the current ones that are available?
Exactly. Victor Bass says, dear reps, you cannot regulate house rents for individually owned property, considering the high cost of building materials. But you can make laws for government to build affordable houses and then regulate rent there. Set your priorities right. Thank you.
Okay. Just pray you have a good landlord. I'll leave it at that. Moving on to this next one, it's a sad one, really, and it's happening in Zamfara State. The police is not happy as they say that a soldier shot dead a DPO in the state. As at press time, we've not heard anything from the military, but we'll hear from Nigerians. One Pocket is the first user who says, I hope this won't be a security service clash in Zamfara State. It's never what we want to see.
Never, never. AVP Deal says that's the terrible news. The security situation seems to be worsening in the country.
So all right, we'll see how that plays out.
We hope it doesn't escalate beyond that.
Indeed, and we do hope that they sit down and talk about these things, and whoever is found wanting is punished. And the final trend we'll take for you, it's a very touchy subject when it concerns Jackpa. And you see that Canada is reported to have barred visitors, visa holders from applying for work permits. So
if you come to chill.
And go.
Don't hustle.
Don't hustle. There you go. Samuel Imoisili has the first one saying, I don't even blame them because the number of at which foreigners are migrating to that country is alarming. Other countries, okay, let me translate it. There are other countries, okay, let me just take the picture. Other countries, we go accept immigrants. Instead, we they do ourselves, they go UK, US, and Canada.
All right, so one last one on this particular issue. Rose Harvey says, unfortunately, this is going to affect some good immigrants. I know, good being the ones invested in Canada will contribute to our society and integrate into our culture. It's absolutely is the bad actors who take advantage of our generous system and ruin it for everyone.
Just to be clear, a lot of people who migrate go there to add value to the economy.
Exactly.
Particularly for those who have an aging economy, or aging population rather. You have young people from here going to contribute. But on a final note, just one more. Due to popular demand, by the way, for people who love Rema, Edo State and some other states are celebrating 33 years, right, since creation. And following that, the Edo State government has named Edo Arena after who? Rema. So Rema fans, this is for you. And Cold Pepsi has the first one on this, saying the recognition Edo State is giving Rema is massive. He just laid the first block of Edo Arena, and it will be called Rema Dome after him.
And Goodness and Mercy said, this is more than homecoming. This is legendary.
Okay, so I think it's only right to say, everybody calm down, calm down. It will go around as much as you're, taking the image of the country and doing good with it, whether you're young or old, then definitely posterity will be kind to you. And we look forward to you being honored as well.
Absolutely. So I think it's also a political masterstroke by the governor as well. Yeah. You can't take away politics from this as well. There's no gainsaying. Okay. But I think it's good to recognize the efforts of these guys in the culture and doing it at this time just before the election. So it's all encompassing. It's a good game.
I can imagine the politicians saying, no, we just did this in good faith. Oh, there's elections. We didn't even think about that.
Okay. We're here. But we agree. If you say it's not politics, no, it's okay. It's not that. But we say it's a good thing. The most important thing is that it's a good thing that a young man like Rema, under 30, he's barely in his early 20s. He's being recognized by his state. I think that is we must commend the government for that recognition, because he's just been immortalized at that age.
True. And we hope other states will do the same. If you have stars, by all means, honor them.
All right, so congratulations to the government, to Rema, and thank you for recognizing the culture. All right, so we will take a quick break. When we come back, we'll now get to the very first conversation for the day. Join us again.
Well, when they say august visitor, the people of Kaduna State and some other parts of the country were not expecting it to be flooding, definitely not. And at this point, there are households, hundreds of them, who are displaced as a result of flooding, in August. So what exactly is going on? And what are the things we need to fix, look out for? So, we have a few more months to go in the year. So what are the things we need to look out for, just so we don't end up being displaced all over the country? We have joining us on the show this morning, the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Usman Mazadu, as well as an environmentalist and farmer, Kondila Epemilo Philip. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Morning Brief.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, Dr. Mazadu, I'll begin with you, because you have a handle on the figures, the devastation in those areas in Kaduna State. Can you give us a latest assessment of the displacements, the injuries, deaths perhaps? I know farmlands have also been affected, but just give us a picture, the latest picture of the devastation as a result of flooding in those areas in Kaduna State.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning. First of all, before I just what has the unfortunate incident of flood that happened in Sabonga, in Zaria, and Zaria, we received notification from NIMED and NASA some months back, and after the notification, the state governor made it available and asked all the stakeholders and partners, ministries and agencies to come together and find lasting solutions. Flood as far as the state is concerned. So the state government has reviewed what the occurrences of flood for the past 2 years, 2021, 22, and 23, and we realize and understand the extent of the causes of the flood within the state, which occurred. The state government passed on the issue of tracing of drainage across all the waterways, and we work on the issue of sensitization to all the front areas, including areas in which prediction did not affect. But it was unfortunate.
All right. Just a moment. There seems to be a lot of interference, and we're not really getting the full value of your reactions on that question. But just to paint a bigger context, the Director General of NEMA, that's Zubaida Umar, is quoted to have said that this flooding so far across the country has affected 27 other states. So if you add Kaduna, that's 28 states and 133 local government areas in those states. The flood has displaced, according to him, 207,902 persons as at the last count. And the fear is that that number is increasing by the day. It's affected 526,000 people, affected 79,000 households, and the number of injuries is nearing 2,000. The fatalities, 175. So clearly, this is a major issue on our hands. And as I said earlier on, we're just in August. But let me come to you, Mr. Kandila Philip. You're an environmentalist and a farmer, so you play well in two very critical sectors. So let's start from the environmental bit. And the question has been, wait a minute, we're in August. What is going on? Why are we seeing these sorts of flooding, devastating floodings, breaking roads, displacing people, killing people as well? What is playing out here?
Yeah, I think it is not far-fetched what is playing out, because this has been a recurring event almost annually, and it is because of our negligence to proper urban planning and practices, and also environmental our reactions or behaviors to the environment. You know, over the years, we have had these problems reoccurring. Within these areas where you have seen flooding, you can see from the images how the level of deforestation, which is a major cause, and this thing happens almost on a yearly basis. And you know, our practice in terms of agricultural practice is also a major factor. So there are so many issues that are in play, and these things have not been tackled over the years, and this is why we have been having recurring flood incidences almost on yearly basis in these areas.
So, Mr. Philip, let's stay with you, and maybe you help us break it down, because when you look at the issue of flooding, there are different levels of responsibility. There's a part of the government, which is the bigger pie, and this government, we have to talk about the federal, the state, and the local government. We need to also talk about the community level, and then citizens themselves, what we have to do. Because this is, as you said, repeat and rinse. We cannot be shocked by rain. We cannot be shocked by, dry season. This is nature. So it's something that is already pre-announced by nature. How we respond to how nature comes to us is a different kettle of fish. So maybe you break it down as so you've identified to say there are problems across board. What are these problems?
First of all, we have to talk about proper urban planning. Now, when the NEMA executive was talking from Kaduna, he mentioned places like Zaria and other places where they have been flooded. And you can see that in our urban areas, there are no infrastructure that, because of our lack of proper planning, there are no infrastructure that will contain or that will mitigate issues of flood. And where infrastructure such as drainages are built, you will discover that even the people that government have employed to keep our roads, urban cities clean, they will sweep and cover the drainages. And when it is raining like this, the drainages are already blocked, there are no waterways, and it is not out of place that water will overflow its banks and it flow into our homes and cities. Now, we must have a framework on flood control and mitigation. Most of the things that we have in Nigeria is post flood management that people do, but we don't have a framework that mitigates flood. Now, if you go to, there are areas that are not urban areas, of course, like if you're from the northeast, the River Benue follow through the northeast, and we cannot stop flooding that comes from the Benue. But then from the part of the federal government, for those communities and other places on that bank, it is important that over these years that there has been flooding, we should have dammed some of these areas as a way of mitigating flood in these areas. And now with the climate change, talk around climate change and intermittent rainfall, we have to start looking at alternatives to cultivate crops. And that alternative is to go into dry season. And going into dry season, there is no too much water. But damming these places, we have more water for our irrigation farming during the dry season, which means we can also look at this flood as a blessing, because we will have more body of water if we are able to dam these areas. So these are some of the ways that the government can come in, the federal government. Then there should be awareness, education and awareness of the populace to understand that our interaction, the human nature interaction, is very key to mitigating or controlling flood. So the work is there for the federal government to do in terms of building infrastructure, also the state government to build infrastructure, environmental infrastructure that will mitigate and control flood in urban areas, and also the people, both from the local government, the state government, and the federal government, we have to be aware of their own responsibility of what they can do or should do to mitigate or control flooding as a recurring event.
Mr. Philip, we're still with you. I know you talked about flood protection infrastructure. So let's begin to talk solution partly. In some of the places you've identified, I know you've mentioned dam and all of that, but if you were to identify as an environmentalist, you've seen, you know the hit points, if you will, across the country, but some that are quite prone to flooding, and you were to propose, say, a flood protection infrastructure, I'm not sure everywhere should be dammed. I mean, creating dam and all of that. What will they be? Maybe we'll begin to talk specifics this time.
So you see, like I mentioned earlier, the River Benue has a very long stretch in places like Taraba State, about 100 and something, 200, almost 200 kilometers or more on the part of Taraba State. And there are so many big rivers that are tributaries to the River Benue, only in Taraba State. We have like 10 to 11 rivers that are tributaries to this of the Benue. So these are places, and Taraba State is one place where we engage in farming activities. So it is only important. It is normal to think that places like Taraba should have a dam, because this will further reduce the amount of water that flows into the Benue. Of course, one of the nature of our areas, most of our rivers have silted too much, and because of that, even if it is a little amount of water, we will overflow its banks. And we cannot, because of our economic situation, we cannot begin to propose things like dredging of this river, which will also be a mitigating factor. But then we can dam this area. Places in Adamawa State, of course, there's a dam in Kiri in Adamawa, but even one of the areas, I think Adamawa, part of Adamawa overflowed because the bank in Kiri, the dam in Kiri got broken sometimes last week, and I think it also that caused a lot of havoc in those areas, and it has been like that. But you know, we can have we can dam a place in Adamawa, we can dam in Taraba, and we can dam in part of Benue where this flood has been a recurring event. If we are able to dam this place, automatically places like Kogi will have reduced water and will be able to they will be able to control flooding in those areas.
All right, let's bring back Dr. Mazadu. I'm hoping that it's been resolved now. Dr. Mazadu, quite a number of issues raised by Mr. Philip, and I wonder which of them resonate with you, particularly those who are wondering, these things didn't quite happen in time past in this magnitude. So is it negligence of government to dam or fix roads or ensure water channels are properly handled? Or what exactly? Dr. Mazadu, please unmute so we can hear you. Right. I still can't hear you, Dr. Mazadu. Perhaps I need to double check that mute button just so we can get your responses across.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Please go ahead.
In Kaduna State, the first thing we realized, we concluded after our assessment is the issue of drainage and negligence of the citizens erecting structures within waterways. And it is fortunate for the government that since the past 2 months we are able to start all drainage. Because going by the prediction made by NIMET and NASA, all the predicted areas are yet to witness any kind of flood, not just because there is no high level of water, but because the water has a very clean and a very good flow within those areas. And the issue that happened, the incident that happened in Sabon local government area are places where we can call it urban area and in the other way, rural area, because if you look at the structure within those areas, they have a very, very smaller drainage and way for water to have its way. So going forward, as the apparently happened, the government have the opportunity to see how we can look into those areas so as to make sure the structures that were erected within waterways are being removed. So, so far so good. We can say clearly that this issue of flooding is the issue of government, issue of both the government and the citizens living within flood-prone areas. Right. Because in the case of Kaduna, we have been sensitizing people from past and since after receiving notifications from NIMET and NASA that we be high level of flood in Kaduna. So, but
Dr. Mazadu, I have to come in now. Quite a lot of interference coming around where you are. I might want to check the environment and see if there's any exposure there. But let me come to Mr. Philip now, because there's the environmental angle and there's the after effect. I'm looking through NIMET's handle on X now, and 11 hours ago, NIMET said that there'll be severe thunderstorms with strong winds and heavy rainfall expected to move westward to affect parts of Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, Kaduna, and Zamfara states within the next 24 hours. So that was posted just 11 hours ago, and clearly these states will be affected. And it's not just mild thunderstorms, it's severe thunderstorms with strong winds and heavy rainfall. So there's a lot of worry as to whether or not we've gone past the worst just yet. And I reeled out those figures earlier on as given by NEMA. And I wonder for you, as at this moment, with this kind of alert, what do you expect from, I'll mention the states again, Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, Kaduna, and Zamfara states, and perhaps other states that will be affected?
I think I'll have to give credit to NIMET because they have predicted even this flood. They have predicted drought that happened sometimes in early August, and they have also predicted this flood. And these are some of the ways that we can actually, some of these things are natural occurrences. We cannot stop them. We don't have the power to stop them. But we have to employ the use of technology to predict that things like this are going to happen, and that also for government to take precautionary measures. And like I mentioned earlier, what we need to do, or what we need to have, is a framework. If we have a policy direction on flood or natural incidences like thunderstorm and others that you mentioned, it will be easier for us to have mitigating measures or factors that will be able to mitigate, and also to put people on alert. Now, with our level of preparedness or lack of it, I don't think that there is much that people can do in those areas. So this is part of the problem. You have a prediction coming and that it is going to happen in the next 24 hours. There is absolutely no solution, no immediate solution to that. But these are things that we have to look into, that going forward in the future, we will have, if we are able to develop a policy framework on these things, we will be able to know what to do, when to do it, when organizations like NIMET come up with their prediction. Like, I know for a fact that they have predicted that there was going to be flood this year. Even when we were having drought, they were holding seminars to people and alerting them, teaching them on what to do. These are some of the things that we can do. And the people who also have to know that times have changed, and that we are actually battling with issues of climate change, and things that we used to know that used to happen in this time or that time will have changed because there are changing weather patterns, and we have to be very prepared when such occurrences happen. Unfortunately, they are natural occurrences that we can't stop. We can only have ways to mitigate them when they happen.
All right, Mr. Philip, you talk about framework. So let's dig further. I know that, for instance, in Germany, in the UK, in Netherlands, in Italy, where you have some of these issues around natural disaster or this flooding or any form of natural incidents that, you know, I call it nature's wrath coming through. People prepare for these things. So, for instance, when they are planning things, say in Netherlands, they look at, say, flood protection, they look at urban planning, environmental conservation. All of these elements are being looked at when designing anything from those places, because some cities are literally sitting or standing on water, if you will. So if you're talking about a framework, what framework do we have that is defective, and how can it be corrected? Because for me, the concern is when I look at some of the videos and pictures we see, especially for those rural areas who are already dealing with all sorts of economic issues, now adding this to their layers of problem is just unacceptable.
Presently, I don't think that we have any policy framework on flood mitigation. If there is at all, I think there was a comprehensive, after the 2012 flooding incident that was very devastating and a lot of lives and properties were lost. I think the national, the NEMA came up with a post-flooding management policy, and this is the only thing that I know that is in existence. But I am not sure if we have any that is a mitigating policy on flooding, and this is what we need to work on. And like you mentioned, in Netherlands and other places, these are not things that we need to start serious research on now. These are things that are known. Places like Gombe State are lowland areas where little rain will overflood them, and it doesn't take much to control. And I have to give credit to past governors of Gombe State, because they've tried to build some of this infrastructure in those places. Now, we have to be deliberate about our environmental issues. We have to be deliberate with how we site our cities. We have to be deliberate with our urban planning and practices. we have to be deliberate in developing infrastructure that will help in curtailing some of these things. As a matter of fact, I am not sure if there is maybe there is, I don't know, but then I've not come across any of any policy framework that aim to mitigate flood in Nigeria.
So my colleague did ask a question about the emergency situation based on NEMA's forecast and alert system. So at the end of the day, sometimes we come to a point where the people are left to themselves. So if that is the situation, so I'll give you an example. The other day, we heard bandits or criminal elements were planning to attack the community, and the people have seen these people come and kill and go, come and kill and go, and they decided to take their own destiny in their hands. So I'm talking about taking destinies in their own hands now. Forgive me, I'll stay with the rural people, because for those of us in the urban center, we may have some means or level of means to be able to do a thing or the other to help ourselves out. But these guys who are in the rural area, their options are limited. So with this limited option, for those of them who can afford to watch television or stream it, what should you be telling them?
Yeah, I think like I gave credit to NEMA for organizing seminars and telling people that there will be flooding. I give them credit, but I don't think that is good enough, because some of these seminars are organized only in urban areas with a very small sample size. They pick 10, 15, 20 people, and even myself, I only watch it on the news that something like this happened in my state. I think this should be robust. It should also aim to reach out to communities that are affected. We know that some of the urban areas are not affected like those in the rural areas and those living on the river banks. They are not usually affected. So we need to do more to reach the people that should be reached, and help them to know that between so time, things like this is going to happen. Like I have a farm that is on the river bank, and there is someone that is looking for that farm, people that live within that area. And when I saw the news that flood will come, I had to alert them that flood is coming. You people should start packing your things, those things that you can take with you. Make sure that you take them and keep them in safe places, because flood is coming. So, but that is not much. I only got to one person, and because of my own interest.
All right.
But then I think we need to do more. The government will need to do more in terms of awareness campaign, in terms of helping people to know that things like this will happen, so that the effect will be minimal.
All right, let's take this to Dr. Mazadu. Just a moment, Mr. Philip. Let's try to see if we can get Dr. Mazadu in right now. Dr. Mazadu, over to you now. There's been a warning given by NIMET, and your state's been mentioned. In addition to some of the other points you might want to make, what, as a matter of urgency, is being done right now so that in the next 24 hours, that massive battering of thunderstorm and the rest would not, we hope not, to kill more people, displace more households?
The level of the state, we have already provided work self-government centers, that is over separate ground, where we make provision for things, food and non-food items. We have been moving and we have been inspiring the people living within those areas for the past 48 hours, that these are the predictions. And of course, it has been raining since yesterday in Kaduna, and almost everyone living within the water bank is being alerted. At the same time, one of our farms is active right now, because a lot of people have been moving to the settlement center within the streets. And I would like to comment with regard to the comment what this like colleague just earlier mentioned with regard to the issue of mitigation framework, or like the result on ground. You will all agree with me that this issue is an issue of farm planning, and almost all the states in Nigeria have been working tirelessly to see how it can establish a system in which all these kind of natural disaster will be highly mitigated. For example, in the state, going by the predictions, we were able to come with a lot of solutions, which include removing structures, which include expanding waterways. So I believe with this kind of effort and input that the government of state, will help considerably enough for the water to have ways. And with the issue of first incidents of this kind of hazard, for example, in Kaduna, after the incident of Sabon Gadi, that they destroyed 200 houses, the Ministry of Health already there trying to see how they can mitigate and put certain measures to avoid outbreak of any kind of disease. And NOAA, National Orientation Agency, equally joined us yesterday with Red Cross. Christian Aid came in today to see how we can work together in order to keep sensitizing the citizens, particularly farmers and people residing within the front areas. So far, with this current prediction that we got within 24 hours, we are certain that we are not hoping for it to happen, or even if it happens, the state government is fully ready because all the step-away centers that will be separate ground is being provided at 14 locations within the state that it is certainly pointed out to be areas in which flood might happen. Thank you.
All right. I mean, we look forward to see how this will mitigate the effect. The next 24 hours will tell. But just quickly, Mr. Philip, you're a farmer as well, and we've seen what this flooding has done to farmlands. What is the prediction? What is the outlook for you in terms of food production? Do we understand the magnitude of what we have on our hands, particularly when it comes to food? We just saw figures yesterday that 31 million Nigerians are at risk of acute, food insecurity. With this flooding, what is the outlook for you?
The outlook is very bleak, and I don't want to think it. We have two major events that would affect crop this year and production. Of course, the type of production output that we are going to have from our farm. The first was a drought, which lasted in some areas for almost a month, which affected many farms and crops. And as at yesterday, in some areas in Taraba State, some rice farms or rice fields have already been overflooded. And these are rice that are already almost ready for harvest. I saw someone harvesting his rice. He will submerge under the water and cut the rice and put them inside boat. I think I have the pictures in my phone. This is going to be devastating. Next year is going to be very devastating because there will not be much production. We are affected by drought, and now the little that is remaining, it is going to be overflooded with water. I don't want to think of what is going to happen. But then, like I mentioned earlier, if we can invest more in dry season farming, if we'll be able to, going forward, be more pragmatic in knowing that times have changed, the climate is changing, and we need to shift focus from our traditional rainy season farming to dry season farming. We'll be able to reduce the impact of food insecurity.
All right.
If not, seriously, I don't want to think of what is going to happen.
Well,
I just hope that we'll all be wrong.
And aside hope, we must do the work. And even if you don't want to think about it, those in government, those who are in positions of authority, stakeholders must begin to think about this and ensure that we're well placed to at least feed ourselves. But we'll have to thank you so much, Mr. Kundila Philip, environmentalist and farmer, as well as Executive Secretary, Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Usman Mazadu. We didn't quite get your responses through well, but I'm hoping we can do that clearer in the coming days. Thank you very much, Dr. Mazadu.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll join you on social media, quite literally, and we'll walk through the streets, take a look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and how you can protect yourself and adolescents in this very tricky age. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's now time to talk social media. You know, when we talk social media, of course, it's more like an all-comers conversation. But there are good, there's the bad, and there's the ugly when it comes to social media, which is why we want to revisit that conversation, especially for our very young ones who are impressionable, the adolescents themselves who are supposed to, we're supposed to guide to ensure that they use social media responsibly for the best within their age, as well as all of us who are already adults. How well are we using this social media? How is it hurting us and how is it helping us? So it's either hurting or helping or something in between. We'll find out right here on the program. Toby Bello is a social worker. She joins us via Zoom from the city of Ibadan. Welcome to the program, madam.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So some people will say, how do you want to start? Do you want to start with we call it social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'll give you the opportunity to decide how you want to start. You want to start with the good? You want to start with the bad? Or you want to start with the ugly?
Okay, I'm going to start with the balance. Social media would usually take the shape of the user. So if social media turns out good, it means that the person using it makes it good. If social media turns out bad, it means the person using it made it bad. So whoever is handling whatever platform determines the use or the impact of what that platform is. So it's going to be good, it's going to be bad, it's going to be ugly, depending on the people interacting and putting out content on the platform.
So apparently you've told us that our input decides our output. So help us, guide us through the inputs that will help us get out the good. Let's start with the good, and then we'll follow through.
Okay, so for social media, it's an extension of our daily lives, and we are usually careful to pick out the things we want to post on social media. So I want to begin with your value system. As an individual, you want to be responsible for the things you put out there and the things that you consume. So we find out that people are putting things out. It's a reflection of who they are in their daily lives. So we are seeing there's some social, let's take Instagram for instance, there's some accounts that they would say they're only sharing good news, okay, because they want to be intentional in that regard. But as an individual that you just want to post anything and anything goes, remember that you're going to be having an audience that will just also want to consume. So for the good aspect, you want to begin to look at the kind of intentional things that you're posting. So you see some people who would just post happy things, good things, and they want to just interact with the good things as well. So you're looking at, if I'm on social media, what content am I interacting with? Because the bad and the ugly will definitely come, and that's one of the influences of social media. You don't request for it, and this thing's just creeping. You are not asking for it's not asking you for your permission, and things just keep popping into your space. So you want to be conscious of the kind of things that you are putting out first as a responsible individual, and the things that you're consuming for yourself.
So I get a sense that you're saying, you have to choose the people you follow wisely. Parents would tell their children, choose your friends. But I'm sure they never thought, this would apply to Facebook, X, and all of that. But obviously it applies. Choose your friends or people you're following wisely. So I think a lot of people will need to go back and do an audit of the people you're following or the accounts you're following and see, okay, is this a plus or a minus? If you're able to decide, then you can tick off who should remain or who should stay. But while that is very important, and I think the algorithm also recognizes that and knows what to push to you, I wanted to talk about the time spent, because this is a very tricky thing. Some say, I can spend as much time because I'm making money on the one hand, or I'm getting information. So for them, every time is social media time. As soon as they hear any notification, pick up their phone, check it. Ding, pick up your phone, check it. So that is a model for some people. Some say, well, what I do is I have times that I check social media. So it's like when I check my mail every 4 hours, I go check 20 minutes. Once I'm done, I am out. So what kind of model really works? And is there a time limit? What has research shown about a time limit for social media use daily?
Okay, you know that, like you rightly mentioned, some persons will say that they earn on social media, they're trying to gather information on social media. And one thing I would usually ask is, what's the structure for your life? Some persons would say that have 8 hours for work, 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for your spiritual ed, like God, whichever religion that you're practicing, and 4 hours for God, 4 hours for friends, share your time. Now, let's even start from the medium at which you interact with social media, your devices, your phones, your laptops, your tablets, and the interaction it has with your body. Now a whole lot of us are putting on eyewears that have blue lenses because of the interaction that we have with the screen often time. You find out that it's affecting the body, as biologically. When you get to interact so long with those devices, you want to check what are you getting from it? For those who say they are making money from the platform, are you creating time for you to rest aside from just, making money? Because if you're working in a physical space, you would have to go home. You won't have to be there all the time. And you also want to streamline it from addiction. When are you becoming so addicted to, social media? You asked about research. Research has found out that for children who are having to interact with devices, this is what we have now. Every child, even from the age of few months, are already getting a tablet. They're already getting to interact with cartoons and content on their tablets rather than playing outside. We found out that they're lacking skills to be able to relate, with individuals outside of the screens. They're finding out that some developmental issues are coming up. And for the adults that are interacting over time, we are finding out that we are not able to keep conversations going outside of the screens. And when it comes to our health issues, we are having more health issues because we are relating with these devices. So one of the challenges that we're having with social media and how it relates to work as well is we are not able to draw the line between the reality and what is not the reality. So I think I'll just stop there.
So let's dig deep. When it comes to social media, in fact, some words just flying through my head, more like addiction and all of these things you have mentioned. So if we're to look, let's posit it with adolescents who are, they're not adults. They're young. The world is for them to take. They're easily influenced, impressionable, and all the words we use to describe them. And the tendency for them to be misdirected because of the priorities of that age is quite high. So if you were to, address them and guide them to say, okay, it is your age, you're Gen Z, this is your time to make the most of this, but this is what you are endangering in the future. But this is also how you can make the most of now and not lose out on social interaction beyond looking at tablets and mobile devices.
Okay, so the first thing is, how soon are they having access to the devices? We have school of thought who say that children shouldn't have access to devices or social media platforms until the age of 16. Let them build their social interaction from their environments, let them relate. And some other persons will say, how do they handle assignment? So what I will usually tell adolescents is put a structure around it, and even parents, okay? Let there be screen times. You have some persons who will say screen time per day is 2 hours, and weekends there are no screen times. You want to be able to do things outside of the screens. The world is evolving, technology is on the rise, moving really, really fast, and we really need to interact with these devices. Now, for the younger ones, the other side of it is they need to be aware that the content of social media are more often than not structured. You would intentionally record and post. Social media, your phones are not following you around to just capture unaware moments, okay? We are going to intentionally click on the screens and put it out there. So they need to know that all they're saying online is a script being pushed out to us. And not necessarily, yes, it's showing what is going on every day. You have people who are recording things, even without people's consent, but it's still a script that whoever is handling the device is trying to put out. So we let adolescents know that it shows us a part of life, but not necessarily the complete true state of things, especially when it comes to picking a role model, identifying the kind of lifestyle you want to follow through with, and the kind of people you want to have, as your mentor, and what have you. So they need to know that on social media, people would intentionally put out the things that they want to put out on it. So they need to guard themselves, and they need to be able to interact more with the open space, with biological interactions in the environment, go out for play dates, and interact with the community. Volunteer your time, read a book, things that we usually do before. Read a book, hard copy, rather than just reading the book on your tablet. Just get them to challenge themselves to do something outside of the screens every day or every week.
So that's the ideal, right? But we have people who are maybe neck deep in it already, right? And they're wondering, how can I get out? Or how can I help my adolescent or this person who is close to me get out? Because some people, as you said it's similar to addiction, drug addiction. So you're too deep in it, you can't help it. Now we've seen this causing a spike in depression, self-esteem issues, anxiety, even sometimes suicidal tendencies, because people try to measure their lives and they're like, oh, my life is worthless, so what's the point here? Or people are bullied as a result of that cyberbullying. So there's lots of vices when you talk about the bad side. So speak to that person who's trying to get out, who's trying to recover, who's trying to get away from this addiction. There'll be withdrawal symptoms, as you always say, and you need to fight it. So is there a structure, is there a proven, antidote or regime to figure this out?
Yeah. So the first thing is, which is great that this person has identified it's a problem, because some persons have not identified it's a problem. So kudos to you for identifying the fact that you need to work on this. Secondly, you need to find out what purpose is this addiction serving for you. There's something it is satisfying. You need to identify this because it's going to help when it comes to the replacement. So the third thing is to find options. You need to find an alternative that would replace this act of wanting to be on social media all the time and gives you the same level of satisfaction or even more. Let's take, for example, you're probably on social media because it helps you feel good regarding your body. Let's take that for an example. You want to be able to look at what are the other things that you could do outside of social media that would also make you feel good about yourself. It could be going to the beach, it could be going to the spa. Then you want to structure a time to engage in that activity outside of social media. So this is just an example. It could be, there could be several other reasons, but you need to find out why you are, social media is what it is that it is fulfilling for you. What's that satisfaction you're getting from it? And it's going to help you in the options that you're going to use to replace it. And the fourth one is accountability. You talked about withdrawal symptoms. It is real and it happens. And when you fall, that doesn't mean that you have failed. So you need to stay accountable. So some persons will say, oh, they're going to use some apps to stay accountable. Your notepad can be a notepad, a traditional hard copy notepad can be your accountability. It doesn't have to be the notepad on your phone. It doesn't have to be another app, because that's not going to give you an excuse to want to check the phone and the screens again. So 4 things: identify that you have, the addiction. Secondly, identify what it is that is fulfilling for you. If it is your job that is making you be on social media all the time, you can schedule the times that you're going to be online and stick to that schedule. If you need to restructure your communication with your client to tell them this is the time I'm available, please do so. And the third thing, look for an alternative that serves the same, outside of the screen, that serves the same purpose like what you're getting in point number 2. And number 4, please stay accountable outside of the screens.
So you've talked about with young people. Let's talk about, people that are older and they're getting used to this new world of social media. So let me talk to people like in their 40s, in their 50s, and all of that. And in checking these young people, so I'm saying, on one hand, you're trying to manage the young people. On the other hand, these people are trying to understand how it even works. So help us, that nexus, help us blend it in so that everybody's on the same page. The young man is way out of this world in his understanding of how social media works. And then the older person who is a parent is trying to even understand the basics and wants to now caution. So where do we get ahead from there?
Okay, so for the older ones, they need to learn how it works at first. Mind you, they are not able to catch up because new things keep coming up all the time. But as much as possible, let's stay abreast of what is happening. You know, you don't need to know how to use all the social media platforms or all the softwares, but read about them, understand them. If possible, find out what the platforms are used for. You know, for instance, Instagram is more about pictures, reels, videos, and the likes and songs. And Twitter is more about the text, writing in short frames. Facebook combines all of that together. At least understand the simple principles that these platforms work by. Because it's by understanding you're able to relate to the younger generation better and caution. So the moment they know that, mommy doesn't even know how it works, they're not able to fully maximize how to caution them and how to guide them on using these platforms. So it's not enough for us to just say, it's the Gen Z things, this younger generation are very techy. We should also build ourselves to learn about it, because whether we like it or not, these things that these platforms and devices and software, we still get to interact with them even if you're in your 40s, because one way or the other, that's where the world is moving to. So it's good to learn about it so that you know how to influence, guide, and correct the younger generation.
There's another dimension I want you to address. This has to do with adults and, of course, young people as well, which is mischievous elements using social media to bait all sorts of things, including all sorts of bigotry and, divisive tendencies. People just jump in, especially when you see what happens on Twitter. There are people that they've understood that a couple of other people are easily triggered, and so they target them with their posts. And see, that is, poisoning the polity. And on this, knowing how the polity is already, we don't need that. So how do we guide these young people to say, okay, we know you're young, you're impressionable, your discerning ability may be limited, but when you see things like this is how you should respond to it.
So this is starting from the background, it's starting from the value system they built as individuals from their homes. You talked about the impressionable ones, the ones that will jump on it. Guess what? There are some persons that will just look at it and are not bothered. Or there are some people who look at it and just, decide not to make a comment. So, I said it earlier on that it takes the shape of the user. So they are reacting and responding based on what is on their mind, based on what they've learned over time. And like you said, they are triggered. So retraining them is going to come from, because that is what it is going to come from sharing counter content that would address those issues subliminally. You don't want to come to them in their faces and they're like, oh, no, and they just resist you. And it's going to take a while. It's not going to be automatic, because for them to have gotten to this point as individuals, it took a while. It didn't just suddenly come upon them. So we're going to have more of this, because even when we didn't have social media and the devices, individuals had this mindset, individuals had this posture towards issues. But because we all were not connected as a global village, we didn't know what the next person was thinking. So the global village, social media has brought us together for us to begin to see what's going on in the minds of people and their mindsets. Right. So we're going to have it, honestly, but how to address it is you identify that this is going on. They are able to bring in other subliminal messages to break their conscious resistance, to be able to reach out to them. And when those things happen as adults, we shouldn't respond or react to them with the energy they are bringing.
All right, so to the elephant in the room, it will be tough to talk social media and not talk about explicit images, videos that people are exposed to. You are on a site just randomly checking news and something pops up. And you're trying to click close, and then you somehow click it, and it just tries to redirect. Thankfully, there are apps that just block that and say this is an unsafe website. And I know for sure that you're an age-appropriate sexuality educator, so this is something that you sort of have a handle on. What is the code for walking through issues like that, and for people who are again neck deep? And this is a very touchy issue. It's very deep. A lot of people struggle with it. They can't talk about it. They can't share with people because of, would I say stigma now, or just shame, or just, well, it's my business. I don't want anybody to be about my business. So what do you always prescribe for people like that?
First is, I've had to deal with this myself, where I had to go to my Google setting to turn off, do some setting regarding the search engine, safe search. I had to do that consciously for myself as an adult. Let's start from the adolescents. There are sites that apps you can install to ensure that your children or the people in your home are able to access certain sites. And I got to know that, even while some routers or internet devices, they have certain such that there's some sites you can't search while on their network. But as adults, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We need to ensure that, like I said earlier on, we are careful of what you consume. Now, like I said, I did that for Google, but guess what? Instagram started giving me things I didn't ask for. I suddenly started seeing naked videos. I call them naked because it just had, really scanty clothes on Instagram. Okay, so what did I do? I logged out, logged in, refreshed, as much as possible, then started searching for more things that, I would want to see on my screen. And I also found out that your keywords, the ones you talk about, so because I've been mentioning sex, I've been teaching on sex, I want to believe that that's why, I had those things popping up on Instagram. So you want to take responsibility and watch out for the words that you chat with. You want to be sure that you are not exposed. Like you rightly said, the way it redirects you, you have the betting, it redirects you to betting site, redirects you to explicit image site, and whatnot. So you want to be able to put a safe search in place for your sanity. Now, for those who are neck deep, what I'm about to say might sound crude, but remember that this is for you. You might have to do away with the smartphone for a while. If it's your trigger, you might have to put your focus on something else. Because on your smartphone, the explicit image comes to you easily. One click, you're on a site, and you've gone, let's take for instance masturbation, you've gone on the cycle again, and now you're feeling, like, oh, I did this again. You might have to do a bit for a while. So
maybe we need a bit of a social media detox at the end of the day to help our mental health and sanity. But thank you. Toby Bello, a social worker, joining us from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break. So it's now time for you to get out those gym gears. And let's get ready. Coach Musa is here to help us out at the weekend. Let's dig in. Join us again.
Well, Coach Beauty Musa joins us. She's a fitness and wellness coach, aerobics and beauty spa trainer. Coach Beauty, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the morning brief.
Thank you.
It's been a while. So this is what we want to do today.
Yeah.
Because of the petrol scarcity, a lot of people have left their vehicles and they're walking now, right? It's not funny, but we have to, when life gives you lemonades, they say, or when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So today we want to talk about brisk walking, how you can transform that walking into exercise.
Yes.
So walk us through, Coach Beauty. What do we need to know about brisk walking today? Okay,
first of all, there are 3 types of walking. There's the treadmill walk, there's the road walk, and then there's the walk to rhythmic movement, which is what we are going to be doing today. And
there's one Nigerians are doing because they don't have petrol in their cars.
Exactly, because they don't have petrol in their car. So they are walking on the road, but there are ways of actually doing them right. Most people have actually given me excuses of, I don't have the time to go to the gym. So in my estate, I do road walk or I do brisk walk. But there is a way to do them. The way to do brisk walk actually is, 1, you have to maintain a straight posture. 2, take a deep breath. 3, you need to engage your core. You're not strolling, you're brisk walking. You need to engage your arms movement. Make sure your arms are moving as you're doing the brisk walking. And make sure your heels are also hitting the ground, like your heels. Heels first, then before you move. Heels first, before you move, and then make sure you engage your hands at the same time.
So that's the difference?
Yes, that's just the difference between the strolling that people ordinarily tell me they are doing, before if you really want to keep fit, you need to get it right.
Just quickly, the core part. So how do you handle your core? Do you stiffen this part? What does it mean? I want us to be practical so people understand what she's.
When we say engage your core, it means you're maintaining that straight posture, you're tightening in your abdominal areas, and then like he calls it sock belly. Then you make sure you maintain that chin up, like that serious kind of chin up thing. You don't slouch, you don't bend. So when we say engage your core, it means tighten your stomach while you're doing it, and then you just engage in your core, your total core.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So Coach Beauty Musa, we're ready.
All
Our
right.
cores are tightened. Our body is straight. We have, oh, by the way, we have this very tiny dumbbell. What's it for?
Yes, the reason why I actually came with it, I just finished my online workout with some of my clients now, and I decided, okay, what do I need to come with? We shouldn't give excuses when you're working out. If you do, these are dumbbells. They are actually going to increase your calorie burn. If you're going to burn 500 calories and you're holding the dumbbells, this is just 2 kg. That should be like it doesn't mean you don't even need.
This is carrying just 1 kg.
You don't even need a heavy dumbbell.
Right.
If you don't have dumbbell, you can get water bottles. Any water bottle, the half-liter water bottle, fill it up with half water. You can actually improvise and get yourself fit. Do you understand?
So I'm going to take it easy.
So we are going to start with warm up.
So let's warm up, shall we?
So let's start with warm up.
Jeffrey's taking it easy today.
Yes.
It's a Friday.
Please don't mind he's between the weather. He's going to be fine. So now I just breathe in and take it up, and just stretch sideways a bit and take it down.
I always enjoy this.
Take it down and just rotate up. Good. Now take it forward. Good. And just drop it down, and then take it back. Good. All right.
The women can stretch backward.
Take it up. Not really, because we have been in.
You're more flexible.
And now I need you to just take a squat down and drop your head down.
Oh, wow.
Good. And then just come up and inhale and exhale. All right, so let's start with matching on the spot first of all, while you're holding the dumbbells. Like I said, you can improvise. You can get water bottles, okay?
So still tighten your core while you're doing this.
Engage your core.
Your chin up.
Your chin up. Tighten your stomach. That is what core is actually talking about. Tighten your stomach. All right. So we are going to start with brisk walking forward and back.
Yeah, this is where the dance steps.
So by the way, you can do this anywhere.
You can do it anywhere. You can do it in your room. You can do it in the office. So you're tap with the left leg, and then you're moving forward. 1, 2, 3, tap. 1, 2, 3, tap. 1, 2, 3. Yes, Jeff got this. I'm so happy you got it.
Fantastic.
I was miscalculating.
Yeah. So you can actually brisk walk side to side or forward and back. All right. Now, when you're brisk walking, you need to engage your core, like I said, but your arm movements also need to follow through. So you can either move up and down, or both arms moving up and down. Then you have to be careful with coordination so that you don't miss your steps. All right. All right. Let's go. 1. Now we are going to increase.
There's a lot of brain work here.
Yes, coordination. Now we are going to increase the pace, all right? Now increase the pace, put your arms in movement. Like I said, take a deep breath. Don't tighten your mouth. I mean, when you're doing any exercises, make sure you inhale, exhale from your mouth. 2, yes, please. 3, go.
What's the essence of that?
It helps you consume a large volume of oxygen to energize your total core and your total body movement. Let's go. 5, go. Now we are increasing the pace. 6, go. 7, go. This was actually what we did today on my online workout. So you shouldn't give excuses. Like the influencer that just finished talking spoke about the good, the bad, and the ugly of social media. So you can actually work out online, which is the good part of social media.
Beautiful.
Tap. All right.
Tighten your
now you're
core.
kicking. Kick. 1, kick.
Like that.
You're kicking right now. Good. Good, Jeff. I love this. Well done. Kayode, you're getting it right. 4.
So do we get a medal?
Yes. 6. Good. 7. Good. 8. Good. 9. Good. Now stretch your arms out, okay? Almost touching your legs now. Wow, Jeff, you got that. Well done, Kayode. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6, 7. Beautiful. I love this combination. Honestly, these guys are fantastic.
We should go for the Olympics.
Yes. Okay, just say you shouldn't be in a hurry. But me, I need to be in a hurry. 5, 4. If you're online, I hope you're doing this with us. But make sure you see your doctor first before you engage in activities.
Very important. Just like I'm doing this now.
Exactly. Now just take your knees up. Your knees up. You see, there are so much beautiful styles that you can do with brisk walking. Okay?
And you don't have to be outside.
And you don't have to be outside.
Do anywhere.
2, go.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, good.
I feel so good.
6, yes. Exercise is sweet. It keeps your health in check.
Yeah.
All right. Now, while your knees is up, take your arms up like that. Wow. Kayode, are you panting?
I'm breathing. You said we should breathe.
Yeah, I actually said that.
So I'm trying to let everything out.
Let's go. Beautiful. Wow. 10 more. You can do it. Let's go. 10. Go. 9. Go. 7. 6. Good. 5. 4. 3. 2. All right.
1.
That was really very good. Just cool it down.
0.
Cool it down. Well done. Get your energy back.
Jeffrey, we should go for the Olympics. You know, this is what Osima is doing now. He's making a lot of money.
Jeffrey.
You understand that he might be signing for Al-Akhli eventually.
Why are you pushing that guy out of you?
No. So the charter has been, he's most likely going to Al-Akhli actually.
Really?
Instead of Chelsea.
Oh boy. That means we're going for the money.
That's a lot of money for Napoli as well.
Exactly.
Coach Mucha, just smile and just keep going. Don't worry.
Okay.
We're thinking about the money.
I know.
Just smile.
The money is good. Okay. Right. So we are brisk walking side to side, like I said.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's a side to side.
There are so many beautiful moves to brisk walking in your homes. Right. So you're going to be brisk walking side to side. Side 1, 2, 3, tap. Wow. You got it already, Jeff.
I'm learning now.
Jeff has gone above the weather already.
Yeah. And that's what exercise does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now put your arms in action like that. Come on, let's go. 2. I want to see the spirit, Jeff. As far as I'm concerned, Jeff is okay now. 4, 5.
That hand that's confusing me now.
6, 7.
Fantastic.
You got it already. 8. Good. 9, 10. This is side to side brisk walking. Let's go. 2.
Tighten your core.
Tighten your core, yes.
Forget to keep a straight posture.
Exactly.
Chin up.
Chin up.
And just do this.
And just do this. Good. Good.
Producer, come
That's
and
what you
join
get
us.
when you walk with Coach Musa.
Good.
You become a trainer yourself.
Honestly, Kayode is already a trainer as far as I'm concerned. Now we are going to be walking the out springs while we are doing the side to side walking. Okay? Now take your legs back. 2, 3.
Reminds me of our cultural dance.
4, 5, exactly. 6, good. 7, 8, 9. Now go back to basic, but don't stop, okay? Keep moving. Kayode, let's go. 2, 2.
Same hand movement or drop it?
No, drop your arms, okay? You need to get your energy back.
I can even feel
5.
I can feel it on my hands.
6, yeah. Exercise is sweet. 8, 9. Now we are going to be walking and stretching sideways, all right? Let's stretch it like that. Good. Kayode, you got that. 2, 3, and 4. Go. 5. Good. 6, 7, 8, 9. So you shouldn't give excuses of not being able to go to the gym.
It's like exercise is what I need.
This is online workout as far as I'm concerned.
Perhaps I need to exercise.
All smiles now with the exercise. That's what exercise can do for you.
I didn't know I'll make it to this one.
Fantastic. And you're rocking.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, punch sideways, just sideways. Don't forget to take a deep breath. 2, tighten your core.
This is a desperate
Keep
now.
a straight posture. 4, let's go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Jeff. Yeah. You've gotten it. Let's go. Almost there. 5 more. 4 more. Let's go, let's go. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Now take your knees towards your elbows, okay? 1. Alternate angles, alternate angles. 2. 3. Well done, Jeff. 4. 5. Well done, Coyote. 6. 7. Good. 8. 9. Now, touch your instep. You're touching your instep. You're almost done. We're almost rounding up. This is the last thing, okay?
2 hands.
2. Let's go. Okay. 3. Well done, Jeff. You got it. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. All right. That was good. That was really very good. You can drop your weights. Let's just cool off.
What are they?
After every exercise, you have to cool off. Just stretch it out. Well done, Jeff. Well done, Coyote. Wow, this is good. Now turn sideways. Jeff, good. Beautiful. Turn to the other side. Very good. Now take it up. Take it up. Good.
Let it go.
Don't tighten your mouth. Open your mouth, breathe in and breathe out. And down. Good.
Oh, we're done?
We are still cooling down.
Okay.
Take it down. 2.
Feel like you're a sumo wrestler right now.
Yeah. Who are we rushing? This is rush. I will rush you. Who are we rushing?
All right. Now come up. Breathe in again. And breathe out. Now you're going to turn sideways, okay?
Coach Beauty, how often should we do brisk walking?
Brisk walking, minimum 3 times weekly.
3 times weekly?
3 times, minimum 3 times.
So you can do it every day?
You can actually do it.
So what does it do?
day.
Your heart?
Your heart, it keeps you fit, your cardiovascular endurance.
Yeah.
It works your core. It works on your total agility. Yeah.
Coach Beauty.
Yeah.
We can go on and on. But wisdom says, a wise man once said, know when to stop. So you can find out. But this has been a lot of fun, particularly because now Jeffrey's all bubbly.
Yeah.
Jeffrey's going to continue this after the show.
Absolutely.
But we have to thank you so much.
But I think my best posture is well, like.
Is there any particular reason for that?
Yeah, to rush somebody.
Okay, just
rush.
Coach Beautiful, so we have to thank you so much, fitness and wellness expert and trainer, aerobics and beauty spa. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And here's some more fit days ahead for us.
Yes.
Thank you.
See you all later.
All right. So there you have it. That is the show for today. Don't forget to always keep fit. That's the best. That is little we can do. You have to take it up now and always stay fit. We'll have to anchor at this point. Have a fantastic weekend. I'm Coyote Okikiolu.
And the weekend is upon us, of course. Have a fantastic one. Sunrise Daily is up. No exercise for them. They'll be talking while we go to rest.
Mental exercise.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. I'm Jeffrey Zama.